This video is about presentation on implementation of NEP 2020. NEP means National Education Policy. As we all know that this is the most latest and most recent national education policy. Actually, the first education policy came in the year 1968, and after that the second education policy came in 1986, but that policy was modified in the subsequent year in 1992. And now, after a very long gap, about 34 years, after a very long gap, this the latest National Education Policy 2020 has come up. This National Education Policy 2020 was approved on July 29, 2020. So this National Education Policy is for the entire country, and it's being implemented in Kendriya Vidyalaya as well as Navodaya Vidyalaya also. So let's see what are the important features and how we are going to implement in Kendriya Vidyalayas. First, we have to know that who was heading this committee. He was Mr. Krishna Swamy Kasturi Rangan. He was former chief of ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. So very knowledgeable person, and this is the largest education committee till now. So that means from the entire country, from every nook and corner, suggestions were collected. That means every gram panchayat, blocks and urban local bodies, from different people, suggestions were invited, and then this entire national policy was developed. So this national education policy is the result not only of few people, but also the wish and aspiration of the entire country. Very important feature of this policy is that government is going to spend almost 6% of the GDP. What was happening that earlier hardly 2% or 3% of the GDP was being spent on education. You see, if we want to change the future of any country, we have to spend more on education. Education needs money to develop infrastructure, to make buildings, provide proper furniture, books, computers and other materials. Then teachers, appointment of teachers, money is required. So in this education policy, it has been decided that government will spend about 6%, that means almost double of the previous time, 6% of the GDP on education. So this is a major change, and definitely this is going to change the education system, education scenario in our country. One more important thing is that earlier the ministry, under the government of India, there was a separate ministry for education, and it was called Ministry of Human Resource Development. The name has been changed. Now this ministry is called Ministry of Education. So simply Ministry of Education, earlier it was called Ministry of Human Resource Development. So this has been modified now. In NEP it will be called only Ministry of Education. We will focus on the education pattern. You see, earlier in the entire country 10+2 pattern was being followed. That means up to class 10 and then 11, 12, 2 years, 10+2 pattern. Total 12 years of education of any child was under the guidance of the government. But now total 15 years, government will be monitoring total 15 years of education of any child. So 5+3+3+4 pattern is the new pattern that will be followed under NEP 2020. One more important thing is that now the school will start from the age of 3 years. Earlier the child was coming to school at the age of 5 years or 6 years, but now the child will come at the age of 3 years in the school. Let us understand the different names or different categories. 5+3+3+4 pattern. The first 5 years will be called as foundational stage. Then comes the next 3 years. It will be called as preparatory stage. Then again next 3 years will be called as middle stage, and the last 4 years will be called as secondary stage. So the entire pattern has been classified, or you can say has been divided into 4 categories: foundational, preparatory, middle and secondary. So this is called 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 pattern. Earlier it was 10 plus 2 pattern. So this is again a new change in the education policy. Let us see what are the important features of foundational stage. So this stage has been divided into 2 parts, 3 years plus 2 years. So when the child is coming to the school at the age of 3 years, so that will be called as foundational stage. So class in the age of 3 years, 4 years and 5 years, child is coming to school just for play. Purpose is that child become the familiar with the school. So there is no formal teaching here, there is no examination. Child will come to school, the child will play here, and in the play method child will learn something. So Anganwadi concept is very important. Focus will be on learning of mother tongue and some regional languages, and class 1 will start from the 4th year. So this is also being followed in some schools, like we call it nursery, LKG and UKG. So nursery, LKG, UKG, that is 3 years before class 1. Same pattern will be followed here also. So before class 1, child will come to school for 3 years, and then on the 4th year child will go to class 1. Preparatory stage, this includes class 3, 4 and 5. So under preparatory stage, class 3, 4 and 5 will come, again 3 years. From here examination process will start. As you know that in the foundational stage there is no examination system. Child need not to appear in any examination in any form. But from class 3, examination or test system will start. Here the school will focus more on speaking, reading and writing skill of the child. Learning of any language, art, science, math will start in the preparatory stage. Then comes the middle stage. It includes class 6, 7 and 8. Again 3 years, class 6 and 7 and 8. Subjects like mathematics, science, social science. So there is no major change here. We are already teaching in the class 6, 7, 8 math, social science and some languages. What change we can notice here is the computer education and vocational learning. So in the computer education, more focus will be given of learning of coding. As you know that entire system, entire world is slowly going toward information technology. So child must be capable of handling the different gadgets, must be able to make some computer programming. Then only child, society and country as a whole can develop. This is the this is the main purpose of introducing computer coding in the middle stage. So this is a major change, that in the school itself the child will learn how to make programs, how to make websites, how to make softwares, how to make games. So this is the one thing. Another important thing we can see here, vocational learning. If any child want to learn carpentry, gardening, then making some food, then art, drawing, music, then child can learn that also. And learning any individual language other than mother tongue. So this is again a new feature we can say, that the child will be able to learn any other language. Let's say Sanskrit, Marathi. A child of Uttar Pradesh may want to learn Marathi, or a child of Karnataka may want to learn Hindi. So any Indian language other than mother tongue will also be taught to the student in the middle stage. Now the secondary stage, which is for 4 years, and this includes class 9, class 10, class 11 and class 12. In the previous stage, that is the middle stage, learning of Indian language was important, but here learning of any foreign language is very important. If any child become IAS officer and goes to another country as a foreign secretary or any embassy for to any country, then the child must be able to understand, child must be able to interact, and child must be able to maintain the relation between that country and our country. So foreign language is very important. It will also help in tourism. It will also help in creating job in tourism industry. Here what is important, here semester wise examination will be conducted. That means there will be 2 examinations in 1 year after a gap of 6 months. So semester wise examination will be introduced in secondary stage. Very important thing in this stage is there will be no stream system. Earlier there was a stream like humanities, science and commerce, and they have fixed subject. A student of science will have to study physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. A student of humanities should study geography, history, economics, political science, like that. But now in the new education policy, this stream system has been abolished. Child can opt any subject. For example, a student wants to learn physics and chemistry, but he is also interested in learning geography. So he will be free to learn geography. He can opt geography also. So his subject combination will be physics, chemistry and geography. A student of humanity want to study history, geography and accountancy. He loves to learn accountancy. Then the child will be allowed to learn history, geography along with accountancy. So this is very important. Focus will be more on critical thinking and no rote learning. Our entire education system is basically based on rote learning. How much a child can read and memorize the facts and figures. But we are ignoring the critical thinking, problem solving approach. So in the new education policy, the government will be focusing on how to develop critical thinking among the students so that in a given situation, child can decide, child can think something new and come up with the solution. So this is all about new education policy. Thank you for watching this video.